So I'm going to go ahead and start. Not that anybody's watching, but this is more for the on-demand later on. This is probably, I'm going to say, one of my, this is definitely my first stream. I made a couple of videos before, but never really with good commentary. Not that this commentary is going to be good, but with commentary of a game that I know pretty well. So I'm going to go ahead and do my 6 Decrepit Dream runs today. I'm going to do a couple of different strategies, kind of think of something new. There is the new equipment set that just came out. We'll go ahead and give that a look over in collections, or history, equipment. Scroll down. And it is the, basically the Mashiro set. Sakura So Painted Dreams. God. The Painter set. That way I don't have to destroy the name every time I say it. So what this does is, after casting a climax skill that costs 4 or less, so less than or equal to 4, increase damage dealt of all allies by 7.7% for 1 turn, even though the turn is missing there for 1 turn. This set works with Hollow and and I believe her name is pronounced Mashiro. We'll go check them out. Mashiro's skill here is 3 climax points, and what this does is increases damage dealt of all allies by 27% at max for 1 turn. It also gives you an extra skill point as well. And then we'll go check out what Hollow does. For Hollow, what we're going to be using her for, which is the SP generation of this skill, when Hollow can still move and has less than or equal to 2 skill points, she creates Harvesting Field, which receives 2 skill points for each ally team, deduct 1 skill point on all allies next turn, and deduct 1 extra skill point on her, Hollow's, next turn, and this costs 1 climax point. So basically, if you have 2 or less skill points and 1 climax point, you can use this skill and you will get 6 skill points immediately, and then before each unit moves, you will lose a skill point, and then you'll lose an extra skill point. So basically, it's a net 2 skill points per 1 climax point, but that set works with her, so you'll also be getting that 7.7% extra damage. So let's go ahead and check out Decrepit Dream. I did get a sneak peek of what I'm up against. Got a couple of 400,000s here that no way I'm going to beat, but 260, that should definitely be doable. I think we can get 3rd as long as we don't get anybody else who is crazy high like these 400,000s. We'll show you what they're using. This is the pretty standard comp for 400, 500,000 score in Decrepit Dream. You got your Alice, your Zero. She's going to be a stat stick boosting up Alice's damage. Kuroyuki Hime, KYH, with Kimono Shana. Again, just a stat stick boosting up Kimono Shana's damage. And you have Kimono Asuna and Leafia. This pair right here has a built-in frail. They also have a wound, and what wound does is you can see that Kimono, or KYH support, has this impression weapon, olive wood, and so that wound is increasing Kimono Shana's damage because of that impression weapon. As you can see, the one right below him has basically the same thing except trading out Alice with Mikoto. if I had to guess, I would say that this person just doesn't have Alice. They may have started after Alice was introduced into Global and they missed it. But Makoto is actually a pretty good choice here because Makoto's frail. Makoto's frail will proc Muramasa, while Kimona Asuna does not proc Muramasa. So this is actually not a bad comp. As you can see, he hit 400,000. And then Indra, or Vermilion Bird, is another impression weapon that's super important in both of these to extend the wounds so they last longer. Here is third. So Tomoka and Mashiro, so they're actually using an interesting comp. This is probably something that I was had lined up. I've got a few teams lined up. We'll go ahead and check those out. Alright, so this was one of the teams that I was looking at using. So I have Miyuki and Zero here for their cross. I have a lot of investment into both Miyuki and Zero. My Miyuki has 330 talent, which is pretty high. She's a farmable unit in the game, so you can farm her frags. So even if you're a free-to-play player, you can get her talent score to a decently high level over time. And then Zero is the same with 315, all but 1 gold talent score. And again, for a free-to-play player, over time, you'll be able to get a pretty high talent score on Zero. Alice is a limited unit. If you're watching this video right now, she comes out next week for players to go ahead and pull on her banner, but she was the very first limited in the game. That's where I got her from. My Alice is actually not that high of a talent score at only 250 with not a single gold talent. I kind of stopped investing in her. She's not my favorite character as an actual, character. And while she is really strong, she isn't. There are kind of other units who, besides Decrepit Dream, in most other scenarios, are as good or better than Alice, outside of Decrepit Dream and her climax, and her just normal skills are super strong. Kuroyuki Hime, she is another unit with farmable frags. I have her talent score at 290 with 2 golds and 2 purples. And then Kirito and Hollow are here. So Kirito is actually here for the wound. His wound can potentially cost 2 skill points if I need it to, because of his talent. But most likely I'm just going to be using it at 3 skill point cost. I don't think I'm going to be have the time to use his skill 1 besides the first turn. And then I have Hollow here with her SP generation. These 2 units, their levels and their stars and their stats, their talents, they don't matter at all. You can have them at base for this particular strategy, and it should work out pretty well. Another team that I was looking at is this one, very similar to the other team that we saw who was in third place. Tomoka for the SP generation and her climax ability gives you a 54% damage buff for 1 turn, and then her talent gives you receives 1 bonus skill point every turn, but at a damage taken penalty. In Decrepit Dream, it doesn't matter. Her talents don't particularly matter in this particular team, but I have made teams where I am using Tomoka as kind of a stat stick for the support that she has. Let's see. This is my standard Decrepit Dream team, and the Makoto is using a frail. While it doesn't do a lot of damage, the higher both of these units are, the more damage it will deal, and even though it's slightly, you'll still get slightly better score. But this is my standard Decrepit Dream team, And with this, if all my crits go off, I can get around 300,000 normally at this point, because I have gotten a couple of upgrades since the last time I've used this team. I could probably hit maybe 310, 315 if I get a bunch of good crits. This is a single target team that I was looking at doing for Decrepit Dream, focusing on, again, Mashiro here and using their cross from time to time. And we'll look into the single target team when we do single target. But I think we want to go ahead and do this one first. Because I didn't use Mashiro before with this set, and I want to see how this set and all of this kind of bounce off of each other. So the character who's actually going to be doing the most damage, I think, is going to be my Miyuki. My Indra is the highest of my impression weapons. She gives a ton of attack. So whoever I give my Indra to is the one who's going to be doing the most damage on my team in terms of total damage. And while Alice's climax ability is definitely high, I think over the 7 turns, Miyuki is going to be doing more damage. So we're going to go ahead and put that on her for now. If this rotation doesn't work out, and I'm not able to use Miyuki's abilities, her cross 6 times, and then I want to use her climax once. If I can't use her cross 6 times, then I will switch the Indra to Alice. Actually, if I can't use her cross skill 6 times, I probably won't use this team at all. I will go ahead and give that, because my Muramasa is slightly better than my Olive Wood for now. We'll give her Yarn, and we will give her Olive Wood. They don't really need gear because they're not going to be attacking. If you have a Vermilion Bird that has some stats put into her, you might want to use Vermilion Bird. Actually, I might want to use Vermilion Bird for the bleed anyways. I generally don't, but because I'm thinking out loud and I'm thinking about it, I might as well go ahead and put it on her, even though I normally don't. We're going to go ahead and show equipment, and I just want to make sure I have all the best equip on my Miyuki. So I have my outfits here sorted: main poser, alt poser, main alt fashion, support alt fashion. They should probably say support poser, but and then I have another alt fashion here, but this is my strongest set, this is my second strongest set. So that is on the right character. I want to sort this by capacity. And I'm pretty sure I saw this on the right set. Yep. Let's go to Alice. She is going to have the guild set. The guild set is extremely important for whoever you want to use as a climax unit in Decrepit Dream. What this does is, after acting for 2 consecutive turns, your damage, you get a buff that increases your damage for 16%. For Decrepit Dream, it means that you will get that buff every turn 3, turn 5, and turn 7. So make sure, if you are using a climax unit with the guild set or Sunday's Best, you're using your climax on turn 3, turn 5, or turn 7. If you're not using it on those turns, then you might want to either change your rotation or not use the guild set and use a different set. So we got that on Alice. Now we're going to go ahead and go to KYH, and what we're going to want on her is we're actually going to want to put a mixed set on her. I'm going to unequip my gear from my other units so I can see all the best gear. And so for the mix set, you're going to want two pieces of gear from 2 different sets. So poser, alt fashion, guild set, the new painting set, and Gakoda are all attacking sets, and this gives you, if you have 2 of a unit, you get final damage increased by 3%. You can get that twice, so it's 6%. So it's just a little bit of an extra bonus. This one only has crit rate. This one is my one with the perfect roll, so we'll go ahead and use that one. That's close to a perfect roll, close to a perfect roll. Let's see if I have a better old-fashioned set. This old-fashioned set is only slightly worse than the poser set, but my poser sets are generally better than my old-fashioned sets, so we're going to put that one there. Attack, attack, crit rate, crit damage. This is a perfect roll, so we'll go ahead and put that one on there. And now I have 1 poser, 1 old-fashioned, 2 poser. I'll need another old-fashioned, which is these guys here. If this one had another attack, because it only has 1 attack, I would definitely use it. We're actually going to go back to see if I have a alt-fashion that is better than what I had over there. I do not. So we're going to go ahead and use this alt-fashion. So as you can see, I have poser, 1, 2, old-fashioned 1, 2, so I'm getting a 6% bonus to my final damage. My attack is 1470. That is the max attack that you can get on offensive gear. Crit damage and crit rate, this could be higher if I had better rolls on my gear, which unfortunately I don't, something that I'm working on. And then what I like to do before I start is just kind of make sure I have all of my impression weapons and all my gear right. She's got the painter set. If you want to go ahead and see the stats, the stats of my units here, 12,230 attack, 46% crit rate with 103% crit damage. That is definitely a pretty good stat score right there. And then for my Alice team, 11,371, 37% and 84. A lot of this is coming from the Indra, just because of how high I have my Indra. And so we're going to go ahead and do this. I don't have a rotation in mind at the moment, but with this particular comp, it's fairly simple to use their skills in a good way. Gonna go ahead and skip that. We're gonna go ahead and want to use Alice's skill 1. And then we're gonna go want to use the cross here. And so this is where you're gonna see that painting set proc. After I use this, you'll see that these have 2 buffs. One is going to be the attack buff from Mishiro's normal attack. That's the 27% damage dealt increase, which is actually pretty huge. And then you'll also be getting the 7.7% from the painter set. So Alice's 3.3 cost skill is doing 105,000. I'll go ahead and see how much Miyuki's cross is doing. So hers does about 200,000. So a little bit more than double the Alice's. And I think I'm going to go on ahead and do this again. I might not have wanted to use it that first time that I used it, because Indra gives you a crit rate and crit damage buff. If I would have used it later and I decide to not use it later, wasting some of the crit rate, crit damage that I was receiving from Indra. So I actually might have wanted to use Mashiro a little bit later. I'm going to use my Indra right now, I think, or my Vermilion Bird right now, because why not? I'm not using it for its special effect because I don't have the special effect, so I'm just going to be using it for the damage. And how much damage? 3,385. Not a lot of damage, but every little bit helps, I suppose. I just have to make sure by round 5 I have 16 climax points, which it looks like I'm definitely going to have, even if I use this now, because I want to use Tomoka's climax and Alice's climax on round 5. If you didn't know, Alice's climax ability, if you click up here, Alex's climax ability starts off at 16, but every time you use her skill 1, it goes down. I believe it goes down by 2, and it could go all the way down to, as you can see, I have 10 over here. So far, this is actually looking pretty good. I have exactly 20. I was at 15 on Miyuki's turn, and I used 5, so I'm at exactly 20, so I'm not going to have any excess or any waste of climax points here. We're going to go ahead and use the attack up. I'm going to use Alice's climax here. And one of the nice things about Alice's climax is that it only has 3 critical hit checks. So if I don't get a crit here, so I didn't get any crits here, then I won't get really any crits. So this was actually a pretty bad run for this team because I didn't get those crits. You want to see all 3 of those. That is the big climax. You want to see all 3 of those crit. Since none of those crit, that means this run is basically going to be trash. I might hit 250. We'll have to see. So this is where it gets tricky, and to see, I don't know if I want to use this now. If I use this now, so -6, that would put me at 3, because if I use it now, I'm going to use it turn 7, that would put me at 3. She'll get 5, so 3 plus 5. I won't have enough for her climax again if I use this now, so it was a mistake using it turn 2. I should have just not used it turn 2. I will have a little bit of excess climax points, but I would have gotten this buff this turn, which would have just been more damage. So we'll go ahead and we might even have to use this. This will bring me down to 1. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and use this right now. The reason why we're doing this is because when we reset Alice's climax, it's going to cost either 16 or 15. I don't actually... Oh, I actually wanted to use a Miyuki climax here. So I'm going to have to fix this rotation because I wanted to use a Miyuki climax somewhere in this rotation, and I did not use her climax at all. So we're going to want to figure out where we can fit Miyuki's climax. Alright, so it costs 15 after I use it. I think it's because I used her skill at 0 cost. And this also only got 1 crit. So again, low rolled on damage quite a lot. So we did a couple of mistakes there, but we can fix it. We've got a couple more tries. I'll probably only do this team maybe one more time to fix those mistakes. But if I fix those mistakes, I got 270 here with 6 crits from Alice and then climaxing with Miyuki. Breaking 300,000 should definitely be easy. I'm not going to say this to memory because that was a bad run and I messed up. But we'll see. Check out where this places us. And I'm actually using LD Player to record this, so it's not my phone, so it might take a little bit longer than normal. Of course. So yeah, that did get me third there with that team comp and pretty bad crits. Only 1 crit out of 6 because she has 3 crit checks per climax, and she climaxes twice. And I only got 1 of those 6 crit checks. I would really like to see all 3 if possible. But for 1 out of 5 getting 272,000, that is actually pretty good. So I am kind of liking this team a little bit. Go ahead and collect my rewards here because it will personally bug me. I don't know if it'll bug anybody who's watching this in the future. But it bugs me, so I'm going to collect it. Go ahead, start again. When am I going to Miyuki climax? I won't have that excess CP that I was worried about. For skipping her on turn 2. It doesn't really matter to climaxing with Miyuki. If I could climax with Miyuki on turn 4, that would be ideal. But I don't think there's any way for me to climax with her on turn 4 and have enough CP to also use Tomoka turn 5 and then her in turn 5. So climaxing with her turn 4 is out of the question. It has to be before that. Skip. Attack. I'm thinking turn 3 is probably going to be the turn that I'm going to have to climax with her. Again, we're going to skip here on turn 2. We're not going to use it. Indra here. So the reason why it's not the biggest deal is because this cross is 534, and then the frail does 583. So it only does a little bit more damage plus the frail, but the cross is getting both of the alt fashion sets that Miyuki has and Zero has. So the cross is getting a 28% damage increase, not additive, it's multiplicative. So 534 times that 28%, that's going to be higher than the 583, but not higher than 583 times the 24%. Plus, she's the one who has Muramasa, so it will be even higher. Which I believe this is the right choice, is keeping her with Muramasa. So go ahead and use this. Ooh, that was some pretty good crits on that one. Turn 3, I do want to use her on this turn, but with Miyuki, I believe that's how it works, is that whoever uses the Vermilion Bird, that's the 20% attack. I could use it right now, and we can compare what it was before. I've actually never tested this, because my Vermilion Bird is weak, so we'll see if, I believe what, it was like 6,000? It was higher than 1,130. I can say that for sure. So, the amount that it bleeds is by the character who used it. Now the question is, do I want to use this here? I really really want that buff, and getting that buff on the frail, on the climax here, I think is going to be a good idea. But I don't know if I'll have the CP to do the rotation that I want later on. But we'll go ahead and check it out. And doing this, I think I'm going to waste SP. I might be lucky in 6, 7, 8, plus 1, 9, next turn 10. I will be just at it. So that's kind of nice. I'll go ahead and use this. So this actually did a pretty good amount of damage, 300,000 compared to the 200,000 that just the normal cross was doing. Now the question is, do I want to use... I don't think I can use this here. Because if I use it, I'll be losing 3 CP. I think I might have to use this too. Ooh, I don't think this rotation is going to work. Because she's going to use 3. She's going to use 5. If I use 5 here, 5 plus 3 is 8. So I won't have enough actually to use the Miyuki's cross. And I also won't have enough to do both of their climax turn 5. So I might have to skip. That kind of defeats the purpose of using this combo though. Yeah, I don't have the... I actually could use this. That's still only 13, it's still not enough. Well, that is a little... Oh, you know what I could have done? Could have used the 5 here. Climax here. I didn't have to use that 0 skill ability, I just clicked it because I didn't feel like clicking skip. And I'll use Tomoka's climax on turn 7. So we'll go ahead and do this. Since we're using Tomoka's climax on turn 7. Damn. I still don't think I'm going to have enough CP. Nope. Yeah, this whole run was a wash. I have to use this. I was so frustrated I didn't even check to see how many critical hits my first climax was. I don't know why we haven't been using that, because I know it's not going to be higher. So I think I'm going to have to rethink this entire team. I mean, I could just not... Miyuki climax, but that Miyuki climax did an extra 100,000 damage compared to a cross skill. So if I could figure out a rotation to utilize that well, that would really boost me up. We'll go ahead and I have forte because we're going to try a different team. We're going to try the hollow team. This team was a lot of fun. And it's basically the same units for them, so I don't have to swap any gear around, which is nice. We do want to give you Vermilion Bird. I can't give you Vermilion Bird. I don't even think I used Vermilion Bird on that last run. We're going to head and give her load outfit. We'll give her that, so she has that set. No impression weapons for them because they don't need it. And we'll go ahead and we'll go ahead and test out this team. I did use this team, but without the equipment on the last AoE Decrepit Dream. But the equipment wasn't out then, and so I didn't get a chance to use it with the equipment. So we'll go ahead and see how this works. And just to verify, you'll see that buff there after she used her climax. So to anybody who had any shadow of a doubt, the painting set definitely works with Hollow. And the reason why I wasn't able to equip Vermilion onto Kirito is because he's level 1. You have to be level 45 to equip impression weapons. And I really don't feel like leveling up Kirito. So this is round 3. Go ahead and do this again. I'm pretty sure this is the round I'm going to Miyuki Climax, which, if that was the case, I shouldn't have used Hollow's. Yeah, I really shouldn't have used Hollow's ability there. I should have used Kirito's skill 0, and then maybe next turn used his wound. Because now I can't use that, but I could use his wound here. And this actually might be okay. Actually, I think that's going to be okay. So I don't have to use this skill point here. Oh, I'll get the buff. That's why I want to use that. I'm going to burn a lot of SP there because of that, but I do want that buff. I got 2 crits on this crit check, 470,000, which isn't too bad. Oof, but I wasn't able to use Hollow skill here because I had too much SP because I couldn't burn enough SP beforehand. This rotation has a little bit too much CP. There's not too much I could really do about that. I might have wanted to. Oh, I definitely should have wounded there. I'll still be able to wound here. 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other, but if I wounded there, I could have used Hollow's ability, and I'll get the wound, which would boost him, and then Olive's extra 7%, close to 8% damage. But we are going to do this wound here. We're going to go ahead and do this. I don't think this is going to be a 300,000 run. Definitely not. Dun, dun, dun. I'm going to go ahead and run this team one more time. And all I'm going to probably do with the change rotation is use the Kirito turn 6, and then use Hollow's ability turn 7. But I think that's the only thing that I'm going to change. This on 2x? Just want to make sure. It felt like it was. Oh, there was the opportunity that I could maybe use. I don't think I have Kirito's talent on, so this doesn't ever become 2. Not that it matters right now, but it could have mattered in a different team comp. Alright, so this is turn 3, so I'm going to want to it's about to be round 3. So I know I'm going to want a Miyuki Climax round 3. So I might not want to use this here. But I do get that extra 7%, 8% damage buff using it. But there's really no point to using it. I also don't think there is a downside to using it. I lose a CP, but I don't think that CP loss affects this team in the long run. This team also just has an excess of CP, which is not a good thing. You generally don't want to have an excess of CP, so this is definitely not the best team comp that I could come up with. It's just something fun that I wanted to try with the new Hollow, getting a wound in there. There's no mains that frail with a skill 1 or skill 2, so the best I could do is wound. I don't have a regular... I guess I could just use Miyuki, give her talent, and just hope for frails for the Muramasa procs instead of using Kirito. Let's see, do I want to wound here? Turn 4. Yeah. And technically, if I had both of these raised, the damage that he would have done there could impact my score a little bit, maybe by a couple of thousand points. Most likely not over 10,000 points. But you could push yourself a little bit if I were to increase their stats up. definitely want to use this just for the 7%. So if I get 3 crits here, which I did, 563, which actually is not a lot. When I use my normal team, 3 crits on the big climax definitely hits for a lot harder. But in this particular comp, Miyuki is kind of making up for the damage with her consistent 200,000. So I think I want to use this wound here. And I should still be able to use this. Yep. This is definitely also not going to beat the other team comp that I had, the Mashiro Tomoka one. So we'll probably... Oh, I want to use this. We'll probably go ahead and just give up on this comp idea altogether. But it was fun to mess around and try to see, because this got 5 out of 6 crit checks on her climax. And even with 5 out of 6, this is barely going to beat the Mashiro run, where it only got 2 out of 6. Yeah, I'm still not breaking 300 with this comp. But one of the positives, especially if you're a newer player, no, I don't want to say this. So one of the positives here, especially if you're a newer player, is you only have to upgrade 4 units in both of these comps, which is a pretty heavy investment. Upgrading 6 units is a pretty heavy investment, so upgrading only 4 units is a lot more manageable. A lot of you might already have Miyuki 0, pretty high stats, and if you missed Alice, you won't have Alice until she comes out again. And somebody just asking to see Miyuki's stats, so I was just showing their talents real quick. That's Miyuki. And 0. So we're liking this comp. If I got those crits, this definitely would do better. I'm actually going to probably run my normal team, give that a single run, and see what we can do here. In my normal team, I actually want to give Indra to Alice. You get that. I'm pretty sure... No, I definitely run it this way. You get this for the stats, and you get this for the stats. You get Muramasa. Actually, I had a team... where I was running... Wound with Alice. I must not have saved it. Unless it's 10? Nope. That did really well. We'll go ahead and use this comp. We gotta fix a bunch of gear here. We gotta give you gear. Doesn't matter greatly. but you do want an alt-fashioned set. And then you want a... She wants a mix set, but I don't think I'm going to be able to give her a mix set. Because I want to give Zero a better mix set. Two attacks, two crit rates, two attacks, one crit rate, attack, crit damage. We'll do the crit rate. So the main difference between crit rate and crit damage on both gear and talents for your units. Crit rate is going to be a more consistent score. While it won't have the same highs as crit damage, it will generally be higher than the lows if you get bad rolls with crit damage. So crit rate is just going to give you a more consistent score. Sometimes I do like going crit damage, especially on Alice, because she only has 6 crit checks. It feels bad when you don't get those crit checks, but it feels amazing when you do get those crit checks. That's alt-fashion, so I got one poser, one alt-fashion. Attack. Oh, that's actually a pretty good set. And hopefully this alt-fashion isn't god-awful. It is not. Perfect. Mix set. Alt-fashion. Guild set. Sometimes I'm lucky and it equips decent gear when I do equip all. Oh, that's actually not bad. That's pretty awful. That's not bad. Attack, crit rate. Attack, crit damage. So this is where we're going with this one. Feels a little bad because my Alice is weaker than my Kimono Asuna, but in the end she's still going to be dealing more damage than Kimono Asuna will be dealing. If you haven't seen this rotation, this is a rotation that Black Ace, if you have seen that name, this is a rotation that he sent me. I believe he got this from Zero or Whale Life, if you've seen that name as well. I don't know which one of them it came from, but those two are the ones that this rotation came from, and it actually works much better if you have a Awaken 5 Vermilion Bird, which I do not have. But even without Awaken 5 Vermilion Bird, if you get pretty good crits, you can break 300k. It's been a while since I have done this rotation, so let's hope I do it right. I might actually pull this rotation up real quick on my second monitor, so I don't mess it up. So just give me uno momento, por favor. There it is. And then... Actually, I do have it swapped. Alice has 0, and Kimono Asuna has KYH. Let's hope this still works, though. actually think this is going to be fine. Three out of 6 crits on the Kimono Asano. Wish I would have got a little bit more, but what can you do? I think I actually have to skip the frail here. No, I won't have the SP to... do what I need to do if I skip it, so I have to use it. When you're looking at these, always be looking at your SP to make sure you have enough, not SP, CP to make sure you have enough to do your climaxes on turn 5. I know I need 16 climax by turn 5, and I wouldn't have had enough if I didn't use her ability there. Alright, let's see if I can get the triple threat, triple crit here. And 2 out of 3. But 660,000 damage with that. Definitely not bad damage there. Go ahead and do that. Fairly confident we do this. One of the units that I am waiting to come back for, this is just kind of a random aside that popped up in my head, is Kimono Shana. When I showed those, the top 2 players, only 1 crit here out of the 3. So what is that? 3 out of 3, that's 50% crits for Alice. But it looks like I'm going to break that 300,000. So if I did get full crits, maybe 310, 315,000, 315, 310,000 with full crits. As you can just see how powerful this team is. If you had Awaken 5 or Million Bird, this team would just be freaking nutty, because the Awaken 5 would carry over Makoto's Frail onto that big climax, so you get Makoto's Frail plus Muramasa plus Tomoka on that big climax, and it's just freaking crazy. But I do want to do this rotation with the Kimono Shana and this one with the Alice Kimono Shana. Chaos no combo here. It's just really nasty. As you can see here, the damage it does is pretty crazy. I can't verify if this person does have Awakened 5s or if any of these are Awakened units and maybe they just changed their display. If not, if none of these are Awakened A3s, A5s, getting 400,000 with this combo is pretty awesome. So that's something that I'm going to be working towards. Let's go ahead and I got one more ticket left. We will go ahead and see if we can look at making another team. I really do want to use Hollow. I think Hollow would make a good AoE unit. I just feel like the issue is your other unit that's not your big climax. So with Hollow, both of these 2 units have to deal insanely strong, insanely high amounts of damage, even if they're not super efficient. Um, if you know me, I'm one of the people who created the damage per cost spreadsheet. So efficiency is definitely important a lot of the times, but in this case, you want to do maximum damage, even if you're losing a little bit of efficiency, because you have so much excess SP and CP that the hollow is giving you here. So while the 5 CP cross is good, I think if you had a 6 CP cross, like Makoto Kuroko, that cross. Oh, I could press cross goes there. If you had her and her cross leveled up with this 6 SP, plus you're getting Makoto's talent 50% of the time, I think a team comp built around that and Hollow could work really well. I don't have her talent to show you exactly what her talent does. Maybe I'll get lucky and I'll get it. So it has a 50% chance. So it's not even guaranteed. It's just 50-50. You flip a coin, you'll get a frail. And the frail does get higher. I think it's 10% at max, which isn't bad. So 10% frail for just using her skill. But that would activate on her cross. So that would be a very strong combo. I think if you had Hollow with Makoto and the cross and some other good secondary unit there, you could definitely make a pretty strong team. But for now, we'll go ahead and focus on the Tomoka Mashiro combo. I really don't think you can get... I said I don't think you can get better. Can I use this well? I don't know if I'm going to have the SP generation, because I'm going to need more SP than usual. I won't be able to use her 12-point climax because Mashiro's taking all those climax points. I might be able to use her 8-point climax at some point, maybe turn. I might be able to use her 8-point climax turn 8. Not turn 8. Her 8-point climax turn 3. Maybe a comp including her. I actually had her in a comp similar to that Chaosuna or the Keishana one, where it was something like this. And you could, if you don't have Alice as a free-to-play player, you can replace Alice with Makoto, and do something like this, very similar to the Alice Makoto, this whole setup. I know that it's still relying on one limited character, Kimono Asuna. If you don't have Kimono Asuna, that is truly really unfortunate. She is probably the best unit in the game. Her kit is just out of this world. But if you do have Kimono Shana, or Kimono Asuna, but you don't have Alice or Kei Shana, I think a combo like this could work really well if you had them all leveled up. I did this, I believe, and I was hitting 270, 280. It wasn't breaking 300,000, but maybe if I had better talents on my Kuroneko here, she only got 180 talent score and she's A as opposed to S. It's possible that this could have hit 300,000. with better gear. I also was using piss poor gear and maybe a better rotation. But something to think about. If you do have Crow Neko, you want to get better DD scores, you can invest in her if you like her. But what did I want to do? I wanted to maybe do something like this. You know, I could probably use Asuna or Leafia. If I use her, Leafia, her talent score is lower by a ton than my 0. But I get that wound, which activates Olive Wood, and obviously, if that was the case, I was going to go for that. I would give that to Alice because she's going to out DPS there. I don't think this is going to be a good team. But I might run it anyways. I personally don't have any other mains leveled up that could really pair well with this. Maybe replace Alice, but that seems silly. I need more CP turn 5 if I do this, because I'm going to want to use her 12 climax point. Skill plus 6, 12 plus 6 is 18, so turn 5 I would need 18, and then turn 7 I would need another 12 if I were to run this. And I just don't use Miyuki's climax at all. This seems silly though. It doesn't seem like it would deal more damage than just using Alice. But it will focus more on Mishiro. I'm going to do it. I have a ticket. I broke 300,000. You know, I'm not too worried about it. I'm going to do this even though it doesn't. I don't think it's going to be that great. I want to use Mishiro's effect as much as I possibly can. And I think this will allow me to do that. Again, I think Miyuki's going to be my main damage dealer here, so I'm going to give her all the good gear. I am most likely going to be using her 4 cost, so she is going to get an alt fashion. This is not a very good alt fashion set. 7.2, 4.8 versus Miyuki's old fashioned set, which is 19.2 and 7.2. Such a huge difference there. But I'm probably going to be using her 4 CP skill more often than not. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Andra. You. If I'm not using her climax at all, whoever I give Muramasa doesn't matter. And you need a mixed set of some sort. I don't think I have any extra alt fashions, unfortunately. So you are not getting a mixed set, but you're getting probably my best set in terms of only 1 perfect set, missing 1 perfect set. And you don't matter. I'm gonna clean you up. outfit. I wanted unequip all. Alt fashion, alt fashion, alt fashion. That's what you're gonna need. I mean, who knows? I might alternate 0303 with her, and if that's the case, Poser would be better. But I'm pretty sure I'm going to be wanting to use her for CP more often than not. Gear. Again, it might be smarter to put Indra onto my Kimono Asana, because I am going to be climaxing with Kimono Asana, so giving her more attack, more stats. Could be better. Both of these guys are 12,000 plus. Good crit rate. Again, this crit damage is crazy. It's mostly the Indra. Oh, and the better gear. 71% definitely isn't too bad. Why are your crit damage only 23%? Oh, it's because this gear has like no crit compared to the other one. Alright, let's go ahead and give this a try. I don't think it's going to be too good, but we'll see. That's what we're doing here. We're just testing things out, going crazy. Sometimes I can create a spreadsheet all day, but if I don't actually visually see it and use it myself, the numbers just don't make sense to me. Using this turn 2 might be a mistake. By round 5, I need 18 CP. It's round 3. I'm going to go ahead and use it again, because I'm going to be using Kimono Asana at 4 this turn. Ideally, by round 5, I would have 20 CP. So minus 3. 16 minus 3 is 13. And then using that at 4, I'll definitely have enough. But the question is, will I have enough to use her if I use this now? So I'm going to go down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. Man, hitting 300,000 on that cross is pretty crazy. 300,000, that's more than a lot of climaxes do. That's just on her cross. Oh, she got some pretty big crits. 400,000 there. Again, 300,000 on that. The last 2 are the tricky turns. The first like 5 turns are pretty easy. The last 2 is when it becomes pretty tricky. So 7 minus 3 is 4. I just need to hit 12 by turn 7. So even if but I want to have the buff for her, because I want her to have this buff and the set buff. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 minus 3 is 6. 6 plus 7 is 12. So I can't use this right now. And since I can't use it right now, that probably means I could have skipped it turn 2. So skip, turn 2. And then I could have used it later on here. I don't think using it... Using a turn 2 versus turn 6, I don't think it makes a difference because I don't have Indra activated. And I'm fairly confident this is just like last time. We'll get that big damage here. That didn't even break 200,000. Yes. Reset this. Ooh, 3 crits there, not bad. Come on, 3 here. So this actually didn't do too bad. I might break 300,000, especially because she has this double buff. She's got an Indra. I'll go ahead and click it and see. Yeah. I don't know if it did better than my normal team, but we'll see. Both of those runs, yeah, that actually did really well. No Alice, 300,000. I'm pretty satisfied with that. Hello, my dear. Yeah, you are. Come on, Saku. I believe in you. You can work on it faster. Alright, hello. So that comp isn't bad. It only requires 1 limited unit, Kimono Asuna, so you don't have to worry about Alice, or Kimono Shana, or any other limited. Just gotta get Kimono Asuna. If Kimono Asuna banner rerolls, telling you right now, roll for her. She's one of the best units in the freaking game. Almost anybody I know and talk to thinks she needs a freaking nerf how strong she is. But she's definitely pretty crazy. You only need 1 limited. You only need to really invest in terms of levels and skill points in 4 units. I feel like these 4, at the very least, Zero, KYH, and Kimono Asuna, if you have these 3 units, you should be investing them anyways because they're good. The 2 supports are good at stat sticks for any unit. If you have a main unit that you like, you can have them as a stat stick, so you should be investing in Zero and Kuroyuki Hime. Anyways, if you have Kimono Asuna, 100% invest in her if you're not investing in her now. Most likely, if you do have her, you are investing in her. I say that, but I have seen Reddit posts where people aren't investing in Kimono Asuna because they just don't see how strong she is. But she definitely is a great investment. You do want to level these 2 up to 60 and be 6 stars. So the investment is actually higher than I initially said because you do want them level 60 and 6 stars. The reason is because of their skills. If they're not 6 stars, you can't level their skills all the way. So you want for Tomoka, all you have to worry about is her climax being at 25. All of these you can leave at 1. You don't even have to level them up. I leveled up her attack and I leveled up her crit because I do use her as a stat stick sometimes. But you don't have to worry. What I'm talking about is you don't have to worry about their talents. And rolling talents can definitely be a pain. So you don't have to worry about their stats. You do have to get them level 60, 6 stars, just so you can get the max level buffs that these carry. So that is a pretty small investment, I think. Um, if you were to bring that team, if you were to bring this team with, let's say, 9,000, 10,000 attack, this is all level 60, lower crit rate, lower crit damage, maybe 200,000-ish, like as let's say like a fresh level, your account level is 65. You're 65, and you've been investing in these characters as much as you can. I could say you probably expect around 200,000 if you didn't have the same investment that I do. And if you have more investment than I do, if you got better talent score, better gear, better impression weapons, then obviously, clearly, you'll get a better score. I think that's going to probably it for my Decrepit Dream runs here. I was planning on doing Void Expedition tonight. I didn't realize how long this would take me and how much I ramble, so I probably won't do Void Expedition tonight. Record it tomorrow, and it might not be a video live stream like this. We'll see. Tomorrow's Friday, and I do have some plans for Friday with the family. I did want to show my impression weapon stats real quick, because I showed almost everything besides these guys. So this is my Indra. 64, 64, 64, 64, only 61 and 62. I just don't have the purple mats for that. Spiritual upgrade, 5 out of 6, very close to being maxed. I'm waiting on a Humanity Light to be given from another event. We've gotten 3 from events, so I am fairly confident that they're going to release at least one more in the future. I'm working on these 2 in the meantime. So hopefully I can get these where they need to be. So once that Humanity Light comes, I can go ahead and bam. Spiritual upgrade level 6 is pretty nutty. Just by having Indra equipped on a unit, they get 20% bonus final damage on everything they do. Now this takes months to get to this level of only focusing on spiritual upgrades. It takes months. But 20%, that's kind of insane, and then 16% final damage taken. That's nothing to scoff at either. In PvE, Pandemonium, Void Expedition, cross our fingers, maybe one day they'll release some harder content. Void Expedition 10, Pandemonium 6, that 16% is going to come in handy. PvP, if you're a PvP person, that final damage taken and final damage bonus is definitely going to come in handy. So this is my Indra. She's only Awakened 2. My Muramasa. I wish I could see spiritual upgrade from that screen. That way I didn't have to go into here. She's only spiritual upgrade 2. Once I get these 2, personality core and bond memory 4. Once I get those 2 maxed for my Indra, if Humanity's Light hasn't come by then, I'm going to start working on getting my Muramasa higher. If you didn't know what Muramasa does, if the support you have is attacking an attack down or a frail unit, at Awaken 5, you have a 100% chance to do 22.5. If you're not Awaken 5, I believe the first no awakens is 70, maybe 75% chance, and it's a much smaller bonus. But 100% chance at 22.5, that's pretty high. This is Olive Wood. Olive Wood is kind of the same as Muramasa except for wound. 100% chance, 28.10, so it's a higher amount, but you have to remember with Frail, the Frail is already getting the debuff on the enemy, plus you're getting a buff on the unit. So if you combine the Frail and the debuff, it would be higher than Olive Wood. but if you had to choose, if you got both debuffs on an enemy, so the enemy has wound and frail, you'd want to give that unit all of wood if all things are equal. She's also 2 out of 3. A little bit less stats here. I don't want to use my attack right now in case I happen to pull another Indra, so I can get my Indra a little bit higher. Yarn here. I am going to focus a little bit more on Yarn. Might as well go ahead and upgrade her attack once now. Yarn is, pretty much a staple in all team comps, so I might as well go ahead and level her up. Again, 2 out of 3. And the other one that I'm focusing on now is Karna Kavich. The main reason why I'm focusing on Karna is because her ability is useful in PvE, not necessarily for Decrepit Dream, but for PvE like Pandemonium and Void Expedition. This effect happens pretty frequently if you put it on the right unit. And I think that is going to be it. I know that was a little bit lengthy. What was that, almost 2 hours long? I'm sure most people probably didn't watch all the way to the end, but if you did, thank you. Hopefully I will try to improve my videos, improve my quality, microphone, sound. Can't change my voice though. I know I sound like a 15-year-old. That's going to have to stick. Maybe I'll deepen my voice and talk like this, but probably not. I definitely am going to do this again for single target, and I am going to be testing out some single target teams with Hollow and Mashiro, as opposed to the staple single target teams, because I was actually pleasantly surprised. I really did not think that last team that I was going to use was going to break 300,000. Not only break 300,000, but beat my standard team comp. So I was definitely pleasantly surprised with that. So who knows, maybe while I'm testing different single target teams, I can get some craziness out. This is my normal single target team. So we're going to try to beat this with a Hollow Mashiro single target team comp, but that is going to be on, what's today? Thursday? So that will be on Monday is when we're going to tackle single target. I think this is the single target that I have in mind, but maybe by then I'll have some inspirations to try some other stuff. Alright, finally, seriously now, going to stop. Zio,